Hi guys, Godfrey here. Today we're looking at the General Aka. Wait, what? Oh man, I knew I shouldn't have had that bourbon for breakfast. Okay, we're looking at the General Godfrey. I'm Aka, and special thanks to Big T for the motivation to make this video. Okay, let's go in and take a look at what Godfrey can do. So, we've got Godfrey here. And let's take a look at his main skill. In there, he gets 40% attack, 10% defense, and 40% HP. That's for ranged troops. Now, if we go on to his specialties, and by the time we put everything together, Godfrey gets 50% attack, 30% defense, and 30% HP. Okay. Now, if we move to his ascension, by the time you complete his ascension, Godfrey will get 35% attack, 60% defense, and 45% HP. When you put all of those stats together, Godfrey comes out with a total of 125% attack, 100% defense, and 115% HP. Now, that may look all well and good, but it's from this point that things with Godfrey start to get a bit weird, okay? Now, if there are any Godfrey fans out here, this is probably the time that you should close your eyes, but for the rest of us, let's carry on. So, the first thing we're going to look at is his Covenant, okay? Godfrey, being a new general, comes equipped with the Covenant feature. So if we tap on it, these are the generals that Godfrey has in his Covenant. Okay, they're not bad, standard generals. And for any fans of Richard the Lionheart, you'll be happy to see him here. Now, Richard the Lionheart and Baldwin are comparatively easy generals to get, okay? But Sir Philip, he's a bit more difficult to get. He's not impossible to get, just a bit more difficult. Unfortunately, he's not available in the Glory token, but he is available in the Premium token, as you can see here. So, if you don't have Sir Philip already, there is still hope for you to get him. Now, putting the generals aside, when you go through Godfrey's Covenant, the first one seems pretty standard and okay, but then you start seeing, like the second Covenant that we have here, defending ranged troop attack. Okay, that one, when you see it, you take a bit of a step back and you're like, what's this? So, okay, maybe Godfrey is kind of designed to be a defensive general. So defensive in the sense that, when you're doing PvP, you can put him in a building and, he will get those defensive stats. But if you keep going down, by the time you get to this Covenant here, for example, he has more defensive stats. So you're like, okay, maybe he's not meant to be so much of an attacking general, but a defensive one. And his main skill is when the general is leading the army. So that kind of goes okay for him, I guess. But here's where the weirdness comes in. If you look at the next Covenant, it's in-city. In-city range troop and siege HP. And you're like, huh? And you look at the next one. In-city range and siege troop attack, in-city range and siege troop defense. And as you can see by the mark next to them, these stats will only be gained when the general is being used. So in the case of Godfrey, these last two Covenant stats will only be applied when he's being used on the wall, which is very weird. So for any people that want to use Godfrey as an attacking general, there really is no point doing the last two Covenants here, which is a bit of a bummer because that's two Covenant stats lost if you're using him as an attacking general. So that's the first bit of weirdness that we get with Godfrey. The next bit of weirdness comes about when you compare him to other main ranged attacking generals. Now, being a new general, you would expect Godfrey's stats to be, on the high end of things. Let's put him against some of the other top generals that we have. So here they are. And as you can see, Godfrey is doing well on the HP department. Okay, his HP is very high. His defense, it's okay, but it's not that great compared to the other ones. But then, look at his attack stats. This is where the bummer comes in. Because as you can see, of the generals that we are comparing, Godfrey has the lowest range attack stats. And it's not by an insignificant amount. You might want to say, okay, maybe he makes up for this with his base stats. But then even his base stats are very close to the other generals. So he's not going to make up much ground on this. So basically, of the top generals that we're looking at, Godfrey has the lowest range attack stats. Now, he does get a bit of a boost when we're talking about march size. Because as you can see here, with all the other generals that we're looking at, Godfrey has decent march size. He's tied for the highest march size out of the generals that we're looking at. Which for some people would be great, but when you look at the other generals and the difference in his attack stats, you start to wonder whether it's really worth it. So you have that issue with his stats, and you have the issue with his covenant. So in my opinion, maybe Godfrey might not be purely suited for being a ranged attack general. Maybe he might be more suited for being a defensive wall general or a defensive assistant. Because when you look at his stats, that's where it's kind of leaning to. So maybe we shouldn't be comparing Godfrey to generals like Marcus or Douglas. Maybe we should be comparing him to Zachary Taylor. I don't know, maybe that might make more sense. But from what we've seen so far, there's all that weirdness with Godfrey. Now that we've gone through that, let's take a little bit of time to look at his compatibility. So if we come out and come over here, there we are. We've talked about all the stuff about Godfrey's stats and things like that. But one of the great benefits that Godfrey has is his compatibility. It turns out that Godfrey is compatible with a lot of the ranged generals in the game. So, for example, Godfrey is compatible with Electra, as we can see here. He's also compatible with Douglas, which is great. He's compatible with Charles the 12th, which is also awesome. He's also compatible with Subutai, which I wasn't expecting, but that's also great too. Of course, he's compatible with Eleanor, which is a good combination as well. And he's also compatible with a general like Conrad. And he's also compatible with Marcus. So, for the most part, Godfrey is compatible with a lot of the ranged generals in the game. And if you have any other general combinations that you would like to show for Godfrey, please feel free to drop them in the comments below. I know some of you might ask about Mihai. Unfortunately, I don't have Mihai ready right now to show the combination. So if anyone can check that out, please drop it in the comments. Thank you. So that's about it for Godfrey's compatibility with other generals. If we want to look at his compatibility with skill books, you can see that Godfrey is compatible with the range attack skill book, which is great. He's also compatible with the march size book, which is also great, right? So no issues with putting books on Godfrey. He can take all of them. So since his compatibility with all these generals is so good, one important thing would be to look at how well he is as an assistant. And as we can see right here, this is how Godfrey is looking like against some of the popular assistants. And he's doing okay. In addition to these stats, he will get 6% march size, which is not bad. But you can definitely see that the lowness of his attack stats is coming out to play here. But with all that said and done, he would still make a good assistant general if you wanted to use him that way. So that's the quick rundown of Godfrey. And it will be interesting to see how people will use him in the coming days, or if people are interested in using him at all, and we'll see how well he does. If you'll be interested in seeing comparisons for other range generals so that maybe you could broaden your choices, then you can see this video here where we've compared some other top range generals as well. That's it for me, guys. Thank you very much. Aka signing out.